Right, let's talk about flowers and different kinds of stuff we can make from bits and bobs that we've got knocking about. The only reason why I've come to do this is because I did this the other day. It's like a plaque. I did a little video on it, covered it with serviettes, roses obviously, and I thought, right, it'd be nice if I could put a three-dimensional rose on it. So I've come and had a look in my little box that I've got of ready-mades. Got all sorts in here. I've got some bought ones, I think these are Kaiser Craft, and I've got some of these that we all had knocking about years and years ago. Little paper, whatever they're called, paper roses. I can't think what they're called now. Then I've also got these ones that are from Hobby House. I always get those two mixed up, and they're sort of just a little one that you can add to cards, really. That's what they're for. But the one I want to do on here is one that we make ourselves from these things. You get, not that one, you can buy these from most craft shops. You usually get them in packs of colours. They're pretty thick paper, you know. You can get sort of group colours of browns and blacks and greens. That's what I've got here. And then you also get your normal ones. You get some of these like spotty ones as well, and pinks and stuff. I've used quite a lot of the pinks, you know, because those are the colours I use. But yes, you can make these up yourself. They're about, I think they're about £1.99 a pack. You get them in like a container like this. I've kept the containers for storage. And then you add your well, there's lots of different things you can add to the centre. You can add a brad, a little tiny brad. If you haven't got the right colour brad, you can always colour it with a felt, you know, a metallic felt or permanent marker. So there's that. You can add the craftwork cards, candies, what they call candy dots. Yeah, when I used these the other day, I think I explained in a video before, they're sort of concave, is it concave or convex or whatever, like dome shape. Then when you try and stick them on with glue, they don't stick because they've got this dome effect. Of course, you're supposed to use three-dimensional sticky tape, you know, so I've had to pull my dots out, you know, my foam dots, foam squares out to use. So you can do that. You can also add a button if you want. And then with a lot of the kits, you do get these things. Loads of, I've got loads here because I've had a few kits. And then you can add those to the centre to form. Where's one that's had it done? This sort of effect, like that, see? That's what they're for. And you do it like that. And you poke your hole through, and you just poke them through in a bunch, and it sort of makes a realistic centre really to your flowers. So it depends what you're looking for, really. You can do anything, you know. You can add something like this, a bit of bling, little pearls, little, you know, some tiny I think I've got some tiny ones in the bottom here. Oh, you can add some tiny ones if you wanted. These are cheap enough from a lot of the Poundland shop type things, or even, you know, Hobbycraft, you can pick them up. So there's lots of different ways you can put your centres on. So on this one, I think I'm just going to put a plain paper because this is serviette-y, and I think that'll be okay. What I might do though is ink up the sides with one of my little Brilliance pads, or the chalk one, Versa Magic I think that's called. Rather than dirtying my brush or me foam pads, I'm just gonna tap it on like that, just to give it a little bit of, it gives it a bit of dimension, you know. And then you could smudge it with a brush if I wanted to get my brushes out, but I don't really want to do that. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know. And then that I shall glue on there. But what I'm going to do is have a good look at this, see if there's any bits that need filing down. There's a bit there that needs a bit of a sand with an emery board, and then I'll put my string back through. I didn't poke my holes for my string, so I'm gonna have to be careful with that in case it wrecks any of the cover. So yes, so that's for that. Now let's get back to these flowers and what we can do. Like I explained, you can buy these already made. They are quite expensive, you know, for a little pack like this. These were from a charity shop, but if you were to buy them from a craft shop, you know, depending on where you go, you're looking at sort of £1 for the bunch, or even £1.99, sometimes £2.99, depending on the make. You know, if you're paying for a good make, then you're going to get, you're gonna be paying more. So you can do that, or you get kits where you get a bunch of die cut shapes like this, yeah, all different colours. These are Dawn Bibbies. I've had these, crikey, I'm trying to work out now. Me and my ex have been split up 12 years, and I must have had these a good 80 years previous to that. You know, I've had them for a long time, and all you do is you just layer them up, which is what I've done here with these. You see, these are coloured ones, and then you've got your floor, you've got the plain ones. I didn't do the plain ones, but I've made the floral ones up. And what you do, because they come obviously stiff and flat like that, so what you need to do, let's just take a couple out. What you need to get this like crinkled sort of effect, I mean, you can do it anyhow, you don't have to do it this way, but this is, I've seen being done on Create and Craft. You get these ball ended tools, and I think what they do is they push them, get the bigger one first, and you do this sort of thing, yeah. Oh, it's knocking me coffee. Let me just move my coffee. I'll hold it in my hand out the way. You do that one way like that, yeah, then you turn it and then you press it in like that and do it that way as well. So you're getting a sort of a bit of a dimension. This is quite thick to work with. The stuff that I've seen the ladies use with these is some felty stuff. Excuse me, let me have a drink. My voice has gone weird. Right, it's like a felt that, or like a, I think you heat it and then it sort of curls up, you know, but you can do it with all these sort of things. These are some that I did years ago just to add to some, and I've just stuck that on flat. Look at that, before the days of inking up and this sort of doing that sort of thing. See how that's gone like that, because it's thinner card. This is quite thick. Can you hear that? That's gone up beautiful. Look at that. See? So that's what you can do. These are the same. These are a kit from Craftwork Cards that the candy dots came with. Yeah. And I've had these donkey's years as well, literally, when I used to be crafting at home when the boys were little. So what you can do now is, I'll try and do something with that one without damaging the candy thing in the middle. Right. Then push it that way. You do that so you get like a, you can get your narrower tool to make like a groove, oh, like that, and then it sort of makes it more petally. Do you get me? You know, but then this is what I do, and then you can add that to the center, do it alternate, and then make it a bit more dimensional. So now the other things I've got to show you are these ones. Now these are in the box here. These are them. Right, now these are from Shabby Dabby Doodah. The lady's called Tina. Now what they come as, I think they're on her glue book digital kit, and all they are is just flat, obviously, and you cut round them, yeah, and then you shape them into whatever you want. You can stick them on flat on your page like so. I've done that before. You can ink them up with your vintage photo or whatever inks you're using at the time. You know, I've put a bit of lilac on the end of that one, yeah, so it's linking with the flower, you know, the actual photo or whatever inks you're using at the time. You know, I've put a bit of lilac on the end of that one, yeah, so it's linking with the flower, you know, the actual flower itself. So go in like that into the petal, and then just where you've cut it and it's got like a straight edge, you know, just curve it around like that. Like, get your little moulding tool, do the reverse first, and do a crinkle like that. That'll crinkle it up, put some grooves in if you want, and then pop it that way, because it's paper, it is a bit flimsy, so you know, just be aware of that. And then that'll make it a little bit more dimensional for you, depending on how much dimension you want. You might not want it two-dimensional, but then again you might, you know, depending on what sort of thing you're working on. You can always add another layer or just have it like that. You haven't got to layer them up. I just layered these up, you know, because I think they look a little bit better. And these ones are a bit more chunky because they've got the button on. But you can also, you know, put your centres in. You could even put some of these in there like that if you wanted to, you know, just to make it look a bit more real. So that's those. So let's get those out of the way. Now, the other week I did a little video on die cuts, you know, die cutting tags and stuff. And then I did a load of these book pages. Loads of different sort of ideas here that I wanted to show you that we can make flowers from. You haven't got to go out and buy these, you know, you haven't got to buy the ready-made flowers. They are nice, they're lovely, look, you know. I mean, these are sort of a more almost like tissue, but it's like fluffy paper, you know, like handmade papers. And then you've got some here that have got grain in already, which are lovely, you know, they are really nice. You can make some beautiful flowers up, you know, the same with these. And then, but you haven't got to go out and buy all this. You can do it yourself with what you've got knocking about. Not so much tissue, but you could use like something like this. But if you've got some sort of tissue that's got some, you know, like this acetate sort of tissue, then yeah, you could, because sometimes you get this in wrapping, you know, gifts and stuff. So yeah, anything like this, you can layer up. So let's just have a quick mess. I think I'll be editing this one quite a bit because it's rambling on quite a lot here. I've already inked up quite a few of these just to make life a bit easier. Now, what you can do with these to make them a little bit more dimensional, you can do that with it. So put a little nick. I'm going to get this tacky glue because I'm hoping this will dry a bit quicker, well, grip a bit better, if you know what I mean, rather than me collal glue. Pop that out the way. I'm just going to run a little bead down here, just get some coming out because I haven't used them. Oh, it is. It's just a bit on the thick side, a bit thicker than my usual glue, you know. My collal glue comes out because it's quite runny, you know, that comes out quite fast. But this is a bit more gloopy. I did notice that though when I decanted it, it was quite thick. So stick that there like that, and then get your centre, which would be this one, I guess. You could do a trim with this one as well if you wanted to. Well, not a trim, a little nick just to make it. Do it to the centre, then do the same again. I haven't inked this one, but it doesn't matter. Just wanted to give you a little idea. I've actually got one that I made up a while back. I'll just get it out of my box for you, show you. Where is it? Here we go, look. That's quite a few layers, and he is quite a fat one. See, it's quite, you know, so you could have that on a tag or something, but you'd struggle if it was on in a journal, you know. Plus I've put some of those little centres in. Can you see? Look, use the centres there. So that's like a little, but what you could do with these, right, I've seen these in shops, well, craft fairs. You make a lot of these all up together, and then you make a bouquet with them, and then you put them in something. I've seen them put in toilet rolls and all sorts, obviously covered, you know, they've covered the toilet roll as well. And it's made like a lovely, like, book page floral display. I've seen them in three-dimensional picture frames as well. So there's lots of things you can do with these. You know, you haven't got to just put them in your journals or on your craft pages or whatever if you're not into what we call this crazy journal world, crafting world that we're in. Right, now what I'm going to do here is put one of these in the centre just to see what happens. This is all like experimenting, really. That's what it's all about. You only want the centre, you don't need it anywhere else because you want to be flicking your petals up. I mean, I haven't done the old the ball thing, have I, with the you know, I haven't used this. I just wanted to, because not everybody will have it. You'd have to do it yourself, you know, have a mess, fiddle yourself and manipulate the petals. If you haven't got a die cut machine to make these, all you do is you fold you get your book page. You know, this is what we used to do when we was kids. And this book page is a bit weird because when you get these second-hand books, some of them are this weird texture. I'm not keen on it. It's a bit fluffy, you know, a bit on the fluffy side. Yeah, so if you get your book page, fold it into a square like that, and then if you're not very good freehand, you could always trace something that you've got, if you have got any flowers hanging about. But if you are good freehand, I mean, I don't know, I haven't done this for years, you could sort of mimic a flower. You could do one like that, and then maybe another one, you know, I don't know, not the same size, but this is going to be like a rectangle flower. Oh dear. you know what I'm getting at. You can do this, but obviously you'd have to have a play at how you're going to do it. You know, it'd be more sort of that sort of shape, I'm guessing. I'm going to work this time. Hope you can see my hands. Yeah, you'll be doing this forever, you know, trying to get the shape right. We got another one, and we got another rectangle flower here, and I can't even open it because the book page is like weird. Oh, it was, where's that one? Oh, stupid. It's folded in half. It's a butterfly. It's half of a butterfly. Right. So you've got to do your 4. You've got to cut it into 4, fold it into 4, obviously. Cal, what are you doing, you silly woman? I'm going to try and do it. I mean, I think petals are supposed to be 5, isn't they? 5. Ah, a bit better. I'm getting there. But yeah, so you could manipulate that if you had to. Let's have a look and rip it. That's what I mean with this paper. Very delicate. But these paper pages, some of them, you know, these aren't so bad. They're not as rippable. But these things, this is an old book, yeah. But yeah, so right, stop rambling and messing. Right, that is a tutorial how not to cut out your flower and how not to try and shape it. Right, so yeah. You could just mess with it. You could crunch it like that with your fingers. Crunch it, scrunch it, whatever. And then get yourself, I'm just going to quickly run a bit of ink on this because it'd be harder to ink up when it's in there. Right, let's mould this one. A smaller ball. That's a smaller one. Yeah, you get these off Amazon or Create and Craft. You can get them anywhere actually, from most craft shops. I think they're about like $4.99 or depending on sort of the quality, I'm guessing. These, I mean, can you see that's ripped a bit there? Wasn't a very good make. I can't think now. It was just from a cheapo craft store or something. So yeah, they do, you know, that can break off, but it doesn't matter, it'll still do the job. Right, what am I doing? I didn't want that one, I wanted that one, didn't I? So get me tacky glue. I think tacky glue is more or less just PVA, just a bit thicker, I think. I don't know, got a bit more tackiness to it. But then again, PVA is like wood glue, isn't it? So I think it's supposed to be a fast grip. Right, let's get that in there like that. Push it down because it's sticking up. It's not sticking. Stick it down. This is just a piece of foam out of a jewellery box, believe it or not. I think it had a necklace and a pair of earrings. You can see where the holes are. But yeah, so I use this for any of this sort of thing. Or if I've got to poke holes in something, you know, it's quite dense, so it's quite good for that kind of thing. Then what you need to do is either get your pokey tool or pair of scissors or whatever you're using, whatever your tool of choice is. Yeah, little poke, make a little hole. Just gonna, yeah, it's gone through. Right, then either put some of these little things through, like bunch them together like that, I suppose. Pinch it, I'm guessing. Have to make quite a biggish hole to get, you know, them through, like. And then, you know, you see that? Move the angle a bit. So you could do that if you wanted to. It's like a nice easy flower to do. If you haven't got anything like this, you know, these little these centers or something, you can always use a button, a tiny button, or one of these little candy things if you've got some of these, or a brad. I think a lot of people who are in our sort of world, you know, they'd have all this sort of stuff. Not sure if I've made that hole too big for that brad. Might be a bit too big. Might need a bigger one. But I've got all sorts in here. I've got floral brads, little usual dinky goldy ones, you know. But a bit tiny, bit on the small side. Let's have a look what we got in the bigger brad drawer. Got some chunky brads here now, big brads. A white one. Now this is probably too big. You watch. It's like neither one thing nor the other. Either too big or too small. Yeah, that's alright. I can cope with that. If your brads are the wrong colour, I've coloured them, you know, with sort of what you call it, markers. I've coloured them with metallic pens, metallic craft pens. But I mean, I've got a few different colours in here, like greens and stuff, which probably would have been better, depending on what colour you're working with. Colour journal. I mean, that is quite dimensional if you look, see? So, you know, it just depends what you want to do. You don't really want to be making them too dimensional. But then, if you want to do another idea I've got here is, let's get one of these again. What shape's that? They're all more or less the same shape. I'm just going to get this book page. Not book page, music sheet. That's music, I think. It doesn't really matter though, whatever it is. I'm going to get my tool. Do a bit of, this is quite thick. See, it's struggling a bit to lift. So you have to do a bit of, sometimes when they're not like that, when they don't want to play ball, you know, you gotta go back to your messing with it yourself with your hand. You know, right. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna put one of these on again because I quite like these. I'll just crinkle it the same as that, because you can bend, you know, bend your petal where it's supposed to. Give it a poke. I'll get some of this on. Different ideas, different ways that you can make a flower. You haven't got to have all the fancy flowers on. I mean, flowers obviously aren't made from book pages and linings from photograph albums, but mine are. In this world, anything goes. In our world, we can do whatever we choose. Right, I'm not going to put any glue on the petal itself. It's going to be a bit, right, I'm going to bend it a bit and then try and get that on. It's just to do something different. Right, let's just push that down, because it obviously don't want to stick to this acetate stuff. You know, you have to use, sometimes you have to use Kalal with acetate. Pardon me if you heard me gulp then. I always make myself a coffee, because I call this like my chill out zone type. And this is what I like to do, hey up, what's going on here? Right, okay, that's gonna go on that way. So we got 2 layers. Right, well, another layer's going on then. 2 layers of this, where it's been die cut and it's not come apart. Sometimes it is hard to, right, I'm gonna try and get this petal in the center of the other petal, so it's like layered. Do you get me? Like a daisy. Right, okay, can you see what I've done? Now what you'd have to do is wait for that now to dry. When it's dry, you can start wheeling and manipulating it. What you could do as well is maybe not so much put those in the center, but you could put a candy. Let's see if I got a gold candy. It might not look all right, it might look silly. The gold candy, I did see one. There's one there, look. That's quite flat actually, that one. It's not as dimensional as the others. There we go. He's going in there. Right, now, because it's not as domed as the other ones, I shall just put a blob of glue on that one. Oh, it's already stuck by the looks of it, because there's glue on there, isn't there? Is it stuck? No, it's just pretending. Right, let's get some glue on. Yeah, it's all this kind of stuff. It's very fiddly, but it's calming, therapeutic, and I can't impress how much this has helped me this year, really, these last few years. When the kids were growing up, it was my little chill out thing, you know, to just go and do a bit of scrapbooking or the odd card. I didn't go mental making cards, you know. Some people made cards and sold them. I just did them for family and friends, mainly moms and sisters, you know, depending on who I was. Mainly my mom more than anything, you know. But I didn't do it all the time, you know. Sometimes I did, sometimes I did them, sometimes I didn't. Right, sort of, you can sort of start lifting. I don't want to lift it too much because he's not going to stick. But yeah, you see what? So there's lots of different, you haven't got to do these sort of things, you know. You can do something like that, which is pretty neutral. That's quite flat. It would flatten down nicely on a journal page, you know, or on a memory, in a memory book, because that's what our journals are, really. They're just memory making books, really, in my eyes. The junk journals, they're obviously made from old leftover books, leftover magazines, things like that. But you can make things like this yourself from leftover random things that you would normally put in the bin. I do like that. I'm going to make some more of them, I think. Yeah, I like that one better than that one. And then there's this one, which has got just legs. I don't know about this one. Curls up good. Yeah, might layer that up, maybe layer it. Got one of them weird book pages here, the ones that are a bit weak if you're not careful. So what I'm going to do now is layer up this to make like petals, lots of petals. Well, what you could do is use random, lots and lots of different types of pages. You could use magazines, you could cut up floral books and obviously use a florally bit for the scent for the flowers. You know, it hasn't got to be book pages. You could even use blank paper, you know, pinks, lilacs, whatever colours you want to work with. I'm just going to do it the one way. I'm not going to, there we go. I moved it then, didn't I? Seen it move. Go back. Right, okay, push it down. Right, what should we have? Well, I mean, we haven't got to put a centre in that, but could do. Should we use some of these weird pearly looking things? Yeah, I'll use some of these, pair of these, on a butterfly to make his little doodahs that I'd cut off, you know, because we cut them off, don't we? We don't fussy cut round, feelers. It's too much hassle. Right, now, what I'm going to do is try and make a hole carefully, because some of this paper is a bit weak, she says. See that? I might have cut some of that petal off there. Be careful. Best thing to do really is to make your holes first in your petals, like with your little, I mean, I've got this big chunky thing, but you could use anything. Make a hole in your petal like that, depending on what you're going to poke through. If you're going to poke a tiny brad through, obviously do not use one of these because that's the smallest hole. But if you're going to poke through some of these things, a bunch of them, you know, because that wouldn't go through it. Well, hopefully it won't. I don't know what I've done here. I might have wrecked one of the petals. Here we go, another one there, look, that'll do. Then what you can do is get yourself a blob of glue, just pop that in the centre there, I'm just going to pull them down a little smidge. I don't want them sticking up too much. I know they're supposed to stick up, just to secure it, you know, in the centre. So that's another one. Yeah, so I hope this has been like interesting for you. I know it's probably been rambling on a bit too longer than what it should, as usual. Well, that's what happens with crafting. Yeah, so all these kind of things, great. Now, hang on a minute, I forgot another thing I wanted to show you. Right, let's just move these out the way. Right, now, because most of us are like ex-card makers, you know, well, I don't know whether any of you guys are. Maybe you're new to all this. You know, maybe you've never picked up paper crafting in your life. But what you could do is grab yourself some of these. Now, the other ones I wanted to show you were these. These were another set of die cuts that somebody's given me. And they're flowers, as you can see. And what I've done here, just to show you, is like, that's what it'd be. Yeah. So you'd pull them out, cut them out. Are they die cut? I think they're dies. Yeah, they're dies. It's been done on a scan and cut or something. Yeah, so you'd have to tease them out like that. When you've teased them out, you could ink them up if you wanted to. You could put some of them in the centre. Let's have a go. Let's use these pink ones, eh? Because these things, got hundreds of them. How on earth I'm going to use all these? I don't know. Right, I can't even get them out. They've been wrapped up with wire. Yeah, I'd never use these in 100 years. Unless I make thousands of flowers. Yeah. Well, not thousands, but, you know, there's a fair few there, isn't there? I know you're supposed to use a few, you know, in a bunch in the centre. I'm just using 4. Then let's get me crop. I'm gonna try and go through the whole lot if I can. No, I can't. Oh, no, that ain't gonna do. Oh, I think it will. That was a bit of guesswork there going on. I could have ended up wrecking some of the petals like that. In there, like so. And there we have it. So there's another one. So that's using these, yeah. Obviously put your glue on just to secure it. So that's another flower idea. This video has gone on way too long. I'm going to make up a bunch of these flowers. Just sit here and have a play. Then add them to my box of tricks in here. Where's the one I wanted to show you? Oh, these, yeah. These were in a kit that came and they were way too fat. I just wanted to show you what I'd done. You know, I'm probably trying to teach you basic stuff here, really. I've just took them apart, you know, and then I'll use them in other ways. Maybe sort of put a button in the centre so it's not as... But that's what he was like to start off with, you see. And that's no good. Definitely no good. Great if you're, you know, making something that you don't mind being on show. But if it's got to go in a book or in a picture frame or on a card, no good at all. So all I did was just pull him apart. And I will use them another way. Yeah. So yeah, great. Right then, guys, I'm going to shoot off now. And I'm going to come back with some more little bits and bobs. Maybe we'll be using some of these in one of my journals I'm making, yeah. So I'm gonna just put her on now and catch you guys very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.